Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm still alive, thankfully. I've overcome my sickness. I have no idea what it was that was making me sick. I had stomach pains for about 6 days, and it was a sensation that I've never felt before. It wasn't some sort of flu or indigestion. Indigestion lasting 6 days would be very, very odd. So maybe it was some sort of bacteria or virus or something, I have no idea, but I'm feeling great now. I've got a doctor's appointment scheduled in a week just to make sure that nothing major is wrong in my stomach. But I'm back, and unfortunately I haven't been able to get any videos out recently because of the illness, but I'm going to do some major recording this week and hopefully bring you guys some good content. I've done a bunch of things. When I was sick, I had a lot of time on my hands that I didn't really feel like recording, but I did play some gameplay and changed up a lot of stuff. So this old industrial area that I had only connected with railway is now connected by roads. And you can see I've kind of got this is all by trial and error, a bit of spaghetti roading down here. And just trying to work with the traffic flows because, as you can see, this is extremely heavily trafficked by delivery trucks, and it probably was a mistake to open this to traffic, but I wanted to see what would happen if I did, and this is the result. And you don't have to have this. You can connect this by rail and you'll do just fine without having any road connections to this area. And so a few things that happened when I opened it. Obviously the delivery trucks started to export, and you can see them leaving onto the, like, this is terrible, don't even look at that. You can see them leaving onto the freeway over here going into town, and a lot of them are taking the route and coming back this way and back down into the industrial area instead of taking the clearly easier way, which would be right there. I'm not sure why they did that, and maybe the road system is not conducive to getting back in here, and I'd have to look into that. I'm just following the paths now, and I think that may actually be the case, that the roads are... Let's see if we can fix this, because this might actually be the issue. Let's flip this road around, and they may not take the freeway anymore. Because let's follow them from here. So if they were coming back from here, they wouldn't have been able to get down here because that was the other way. They could come up here, but immediately would have to take a left and go back this way, because they couldn't go anywhere this way. There's no road coming back there. So that was the issue. How easily we can solve some problems just checking out one-way roads. This is the best I've ever managed to get this traffic flow. And some of the old iterations of this were horrid. This is the best I can do. I mean, I played with this for over an hour, and I can't figure out how to make this flow any smoother. I'm sure that there's better ways to do it, but I'd have to experiment with it a bit more. In any event, we have this freeway set up. Are these guys taking... Yeah, I'm an idiot. I mean, look at this. This was clearly the issue right from the beginning. That's why they were all going out the freeway and circling around, but... Anyhow, that's that area. I did some work there. I did a bit of work in this area. I changed some of the zoning and actually lowered the density in this area because I was upwards of 70,000 people at one point in time, and things were getting a little bit unmanageable. So I decided to drop the population down a little bit while we're sort of doing what we're going to do. This area is now fully populated. You'll remember in the last episode, I laid this out, and I really like the way that this area looks. Like, we could go, let's go take a tour through it, because it's really a cool little residential area. I wish the buildings would have stayed a little bit smaller just to kind of make it, you know, a little more cozy. The buildings got a little large, and it looks a little different than I would have wanted it to. I mean, these buildings honestly look like little apartment buildings, don't they? When they're supposed to be really single-family dwelling houses, but such as it is, this area is still kind of a neat-looking area. Pretty cool. I've got a death issue going on because it's die-off time again. I keep meaning to get the mod that spaces out the die-off, and I haven't got it yet. And this is the result of everybody dying at the same time. So there's some cool houses in here. Like, this is a nice looking house. Anyway, So you can see the skyline of the city is growing. I put in some of the unique buildings like the high interest tower, the transport building, that sort of thing. And over in this area, I did some rezoning as well. And I'll show you what I did here with the zoning. I put a bit of a commercial office space in here, and it started out very small, but then I decided to make it a little bit bigger. The offices in there are there for the noise break. This is a high school, and this is kind of the new theme I'm going for with when I'm reinventing this city is I want to make these things look as realistic as possible. You got a high school ploppable building, and if you just put it down and call it a day, it doesn't look real, does it? I mean, high schools have yards and they've got playground areas or basketball courts or tennis court. No, not a playground in a high school, but elementary school would certainly have it. So I'm kind of trying to go for, like, this is a more realistic look. At these guys came back again. I've been having the trouble where certain tiles will rezone themselves even though I've dezoned them. And I'm not exactly sure how to remedy that. So if you guys know what causes that to happen, see, they're already back. I'm going to try the marquee tool instead because I have an inkling that it's to do with using the paint bucket one. And let's see if it'll zone back again. Just take off the zone tool. Well, we'll come back and check on that later, or maybe in another episode. But it has been happening quite a bit. Here's another one right here we got to get rid of. Is that still zoned? No. So this is kind of what I'm going for, and you'll see that I did it over here by the malls as well. So this is a mall and this is a mall, and malls have big parking lots, and they have pathways, and they have trees and parkades. Or parking garages. I don't know. Parkade, I think, is a Canadian term, so maybe you won't recognize that one. And then, you know, some buildings around them, that sort of thing. So I'm going for this now. I'm going for the sense of realism and to make things a little more quality than quantity. And that's why I don't really care what our population is. Honestly, in this game, very unlike SimCity 4, where it was a big accomplishment to cram as many people as you could into a small space. But anyway, so we're going to go for realism and making things look really interesting from now on. And that's kind of what I did here. And I mean, I could do more with this. It's got a park beside it. It's got some pedestrian pathing and a basketball court. I downloaded some other parks from the workshop that I thought would look really neat. And I got a soccer pitch, which I thought would have been a good addition for high school. But this thing is massive. Look at how big this thing is. So we gotta find a home for it eventually, but not right there. Anyway, I'll be using that one eventually for sure. It's a really cool asset and it looks really great. Okay, so what is on the agenda for today? Well, I think our city is at the point where we need to have an airport, and I've been watching some videos with people's airport design, and I've got a few ideas that I want to try out. So I think we're going to give it a go, and I just have to figure out where I want to build the airport. To me, it seems like the airport should be kind of a thing that in a growing city you would put far on the outskirts so that it wouldn't interfere with the main city. And in bigger cities, eventually the airport does get grown around. But I'm thinking, you know, we need to put it by where we could get an easy metro line access as well. It's either going to be in this area here or maybe in this area here. And since this is close to industrial, I'm thinking this is probably the better area to put it in. The goal that I have for doing the airport is to have a multiple runway, because I've seen the single airport, as you guys likely have as well, and it's very boring. It's got one runway and one little on and off ramp for the planes to taxi to the gate. Very, very boring. There's tons of assets in the workshop. I haven't downloaded them yet, but we're going to get the main layout of the airport done today in any event. So I think we're going to do it off of here. And so first things first, I want to make access from both sides of the freeway. So on-ramps, off-ramps onto both sides. So we're going to start laying out those paths. Is there an appropriate interchange for this? Yeah, probably. We could put this one in there. And that would work just fine. Let's see if we can get an angle. Yeah, you know what? I think we'll bust out the freeway here. Although, can we do this elevated? That's the other question. I don't think this is an elevated freeway, right? So we may have to do this by hand. Yep. Probably gonna have to do that by hand. So let's get laying that out. We want the airport to be roughly, say, in this area, closer to the train track. So let's get, we'll just use small roads for now, and if we want to upgrade, we can do that. So we'll pull this toward here, and make it go underneath, because that'll make things a heck of a lot easier. Okay. And let's pull some on and off ramps here. So we'll start the on ramp fairly far back. That looks about right. And we'll get the off ramp roughly parallel, or symmetrical, not parallel. That's a little odd looking because the freeway is curved a touch. Yeah, it's good enough. Good enough for our purposes. Okay, so we've got off ramp here. We've got to flip this around. And an on ramp. So that takes care of that side. And now we've got to pull some from the other side. And I think all we'll do is just draw them from this direction. That'll be easier. So let's extend this road out just a touch so we got some nice length on the on ramps. And we will do an on-ramp up to there. That attach it roughly the same point. Yep. Oh, work with me here. Okay. Looks alright to me, so we gotta just flip this one around. And then we're good to go. Very simple. Just keeping it real simple. Yep, we got another road there. Is that the right direction now? Yeah. Really, really simple. I don't need to make that too complicated. So let's start thinking about this. We'll lay our first airport down on this road, and then we'll see what we want to do from there. So let's grab the airport here. And how does this want to situate? Slope too steep. I didn't even think about that when I was building this. I think the slope will be okay. It seems to be flattening out over here. So make one right there. And I think we'll make... Let's see, how do we want to do this? Maybe we do a second one. Go up one more, maybe. Is that going to be enough room to put a second one in? Likely not. Oh, just about. Just about. Oh, we were just a couple spaces off. Let's bulldoze. We want to get this right the first time. So we needed a couple more spaces there to get a second one kind of parallel to that one. Let's try this instead. Slope too steep. That is unfortunate. Nope, none of those spaces are going to work. Okay. Let's try a runway running the other way. And then we will circle this a little bit. Now, from what I've seen, the key to doing these is to get some pathing with the pedestrian paths in there to make it kind of look like there's some tarmac space and that sort of thing. So let's do some pedestrian pathing. No, why are you curving? No need to curve. There we go. Ooh, that kind of sucks. Don't like that at all. Seems to be easier to start from the roadside instead of pulling down from the runway. So these are meant to represent the taxiing lanes of an airport, and they're a little small for that purpose, to be quite honest, but they don't look too bad, really. Pull that one right across. And then we'll do one that's parallel to here if we can. Wish there was a way to change the grass to a concrete texture. That would look really neat. Don't like the way this one's kind of a little gimpy looking, so we'll fix that. That's better. Okay, and then airports typically have some hotels and that sort of thing, so what we'll do is put a bit of commercial zone here, so we get a few buildings coming up. I don't want tons of them, but we'll get a few. And that'll make it kind of look a little more realistic. The other things airports typically have is a nice kind of reception area by the departure and arrival zone. So let's think about what we can do there. I'm thinking we do kind of a little roundabout with some decorative stuff in the center. So let's make a nice roundabout right here in front of the airport. 2 squares. And then we'll pull out, let's say... 2, then down. No, we're gonna run into that. We need to make it quite a bit smaller. Start it up here. Darn, we're gonna run into that. I'll bulldoze that out of the way. Doesn't need to be exactly there. Since this isn't going to be very heavily trafficked, I'm going to make a little bit of a cross in here just to make it look kind of neat. And then we'll fill this in with some shrubberies. And use the brush tool for just a sec, and then we'll fill it in manually. Okay, that's kind of neat. Let's see what else we could do. We've got some interfering power lines here that we've got to take care of. I don't know how big the sphere of influence is for the airport. It doesn't look very big at all, as a matter of fact, so we might have to be a little cautious with how we do the power lines here. I hope that connects. And we're gonna have to run a little something this way. We still have to get power down to these guys. They've already got it, I think, from something else. They have an incinerator down there, but I'm not sure it's enough to fully get the electricity needs met. That's why we had this one over here, and we might have to still run this. Suppose we could come across to the other airport first. That should be okay. Okay, then definitely want to get rid of all these trees. And so, let's see, does this brush work the other way? Yes, it does. Get rid of these trees that are around the airport, because random trees at airports just don't happen. Not a good thing for planes to be seeing trees everywhere. Now, I'm leaving a bunch of space in here, and there's a reason for that, because we can download the airport assets from the workshop and fill this in, and that's something I'm going to do. I just didn't have them ready to go for this episode. We'll definitely do it next episode. We will definitely fill in the assets, and there's some really cool ones. There's control towers, there is airplanes parked, there's all kinds of stuff, and I'm gonna get tons of them, and we'll fill this in. But I want to see how this runs first, and make sure that everything's got power. That's got power. This guy, oh, they don't have water pipes. That's the one thing I forgot to give them. Does it looks like they have power, I think? Yes, they do. Okay. Let's speed up. Let's wait for our first planes to come. So we can fill in, like, we've got enough roads around here that we have lots of space for the ploppables, and they're at parks just as any of the other assets are. And we can plug them in around here, and it's going to look so much better. If you want to see an example of a really good airport, I encourage you to check out Corralis's playthrough. He did a very nice airport, and I've been following his Let's Play since the beginning. Does a great job with it, and he's a bit of a gritter, and that's fine, because his city actually looks pretty darn good for a grid city. It looks somewhat organic, not as organic as, say, some of our streets are in here, but certainly he's done a good job with it. So go check out his playthrough. I'm sure you'd appreciate the extra views. But yeah, he did a really sweet airport, and he did some work with the terraforming tool inside his airport as well, and it looked really nice. I'm gonna try to double up some of these paths now that I'm looking at them. I know we had issues with the first one we tried, but I'm gonna see if we get issues with this one as well. Yeah, there's some issues there. I kind of wish it wouldn't have that dirt like that, because that would be a pretty good looking size for a taxiing space. Like if this were doubled up as well, like that, it's a good enough amount of space for a taxiing aircraft. But I don't like the way that it has the dirt between the two pedestrian paths, so I'm just going to leave that out for the time being. When we have the airport assets in there, it's going to look a lot fuller. These guys all have water. Just double check. Oh, it's still on one way. I didn't mean to do that. I want to do two-way. Yeah, I want to pull this one down to this road, so I'm going to have to move these power lines once again. Come on, there we go. Oh, I deleted a tree. Man, it takes forever to get airplanes into your city. Maybe we'll check back on that in just a sec. Look at all the death we have. I have plenty enough the last time I checked. I've got plenty enough death care. But it's just a matter of getting the mass die-off taken care of. And let's just check our death care here. Yeah, we've got tons. So cemetery usage 100%, but I'm not using cemeteries anymore. The other thing I haven't done in a while is name districts, and I think we're going to do that again coming up next episode. We'll get some of these districts named after subscribers again. We've got this new district here. We have the outside of Renato Villa. We could name this something else as well. This new business district right here. And we've got our industrial park name, so that one's done. Did we get a name for this one? Where's the name? I don't see it. Maybe we didn't name it. It's just districted by use, so we'll name that one as well. And then we've got our international airport to name, so we will get that done too. One thing I'm going to do is connect this road just before we take off for the day. Just get this connected to the freeway up here. There we go. Now we've got a new area to develop there, and we'll come back next episode and beautify our airport. We got the bones in today. It's a double runway, one east-west and north-south. So that should take care of all of our regional needs for the time being. So guys, until next time, I'm so glad to be back after feeling sick for so long. Thanks very much for tuning back in and for your patience with the episode. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.